Hi and welcome back to another Girl Gone London video. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm a dual UK and American citizen, and I'm learning more about my new culture, even after 10 years. So today we are doing a deep dive into a British classic, pot noodle. If you're unfamiliar, or even if you're not, pot noodle is a UK brand of instant noodle snack food. Basically, it's ramen, cup noodles, instant noodles, whatever you call them in your country. The UK didn't invent instant noodles. That happened in 1958 in Japan, but a UK snack food brand called Golden Wonder launched pot noodle in the UK in 1977. Through the years, it's been owned by a few different companies, moving to Best Foods in 1995, which is a great name, and then Unilever in 2000. They are an instant food snack, popular with university students, working adults who need something fast, and generally people who want a comfort food in mere minutes that they can make with just a kettle, or in the words of a British person who writes on worldofmatthew.com, they're a plastic pot filled with extremely low quality instant noodles with a decent-ish flavor powder and god-awful sauce packets. The target market is actually described as a 16 to 24-year-old male, and it has a 77% market share for pot snacks in the UK. There are many arguments across the internet amongst the British about whether pot noodle is the actual best thing ever or absolutely disgusting, so you can imagine what kind of food products we're talking about here. It is polarizing. The more I dug into this video though, the more I found that the controversy doesn't end there. Pot noodle has actually found itself in a lot of hot water, get it, over the years. For some advertising campaigns, there is also apparently a great divide over whether you're supposed to drain the water from your pot noodle or not, so we'll get to that in a minute. To make the American connection here, just so my British viewers understand why pot noodle is even more of a British thing to me, Americans will have equivalent snacks like instant ramen, like in packages, or we have something called Easy Mac, essentially microwave Kraft mac and cheese. But as you might have just heard me mention, there is a big difference. We make these snacks in the microwave rather than using the kettle, as many Americans don't have electric kettles, and we're not going to stand there boiling water on the stove to pour into instant noodles when we could just boil water to make regular noodles. The difference with the pot noodle versus American instant food snacks is the use of the kettle versus doing it in the microwave. Now, the way you'd make a pot noodle is simple, if you can call it making one. You essentially peel back the lid, remove the sachet inside. Do Americans say sachet, or is that how the British pronounce it? Definitely the British pronounce it sachet, but I don't feel like Americans do. But I feel like I've lost my American pronunciation of that word. Americans, do we say sachet or do we say like something else? Okay. Anyway, you remove the sachet or the packet inside and you pour boiling water in. Then after a couple minutes, you stir in the powder and boom, pot noodle of whatever flavor you've bought. But people disagree on whether you pour the water out and have just the noodles or whether you keep the extra liquid in, so it's like noodles in a broth. The people in favor of keeping the liquid in say things like, the broth is better than the noodles, and the broth is the best part, that's why I'm eating the noodles. But the opposed say things like, who wants soggy noodles? And my favorite, I ain't drinking soup, I'm eating noodles. So YouTube, what do you think? Comment below and let me know which side of that debate you are on. Our next fun fact about pot noodles has to do with the sheer amount that are made every year, over 170 million. That's about 240 pot noodles being eaten every minute in the UK. They're made in Crumlin, South Wales, home of the pot noodle factory, and the list of flavors is insane, with everything from sweet and sour to curry, to beef and tomato, to sticky rib, to Christmas dinner, to korma, and so much more. Many media outlets have tried to rank the pot noodle flavors, with beef and tomato and chicken and mushroom often being ranked at the top, but this is another area where the comments section gets heated. And then there's the advertising, like I mentioned. Pot Noodle has taken a pretty controversial approach with their commercials, known as adverts in the UK. They've gotten complaints about their ads about everything from condoning violence to being too crude, to encouraging children to lick frozen pipes, to being offensive towards the Welsh. In fact, one ad was actually taken off the air in 2002 after receiving so many complaints. I'll link that one in the comments, as you can still find it on YouTube and decide what you think. Pot noodle health benefits are very few, really. Being healthy is not the point of eating a pot noodle, but they did decrease the salt amount in 2006 to try and make everyone feel a bit better about themselves. It's still a high salt product though. And here's another fun fact. Pot noodles are suitable for vegetarians, but they have flavors like beef and tomato, so how could that be vegetarian? Because it isn't meat. No matter the flavor, you're getting noodles, soya pieces, vegetables, and seasoning powder. They also do sort of like spin-off products, like Lost the Pot Noodles without the pot. You can imagine that's more similar to like the instant ramen packages we'd get in the States. They also do pot pasta, though they've had many other types of convenience foods with the same branding over the years, though they haven't lasted. This includes pot rice, pot mash, and pot casserole. You could even get a pot sweet in the 1980s, which was a dessert range. If you opt for the king size, that's the larger pot noodle size. And if you're wondering whether you should eat a pot noodle with a fork or a spoon or chopsticks or something else entirely, they've actually got an official answer on their website, which essentially says, you do what works best for you. We're not going to judge. So there you have it, a deep dive into some interesting facts about pot noodle. Do you love them? Do you hate them? What's your favorite flavor? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you next time. Also, PS, what other like British food snacks should I cover in my videos? Comment that as well in the comment section below.